Hey everyone, this is Tuhan Aditya from LightHaven. This is usually a series that goes on our Patreon page. It's called a Tuhon's Training Thoughts. It's where I talk about training, my experiences in training, my experiences specifically in the Filipino martial art of Pekiti Tirsia Kali. But today I'm going to be releasing this video for YouTube in general as well, because it's about something that I think I'm seeing a lot more of, and it's something I think the wider FMA community, especially the Pekiti community, can benefit from. But if you are curious about our Patreon page, please do check out the link down below. There's a lot of exclusive content that we post over there every week. So this video is based on a conversation I had today, and it was quite an insane conversation. Essentially, an old student of mine reached out to me and accused me of abandoning the original method of teaching Pekiti, abandoning Dose Methodos, because I teach primarily Tri-V formula. And his argument was that he wanted to see Pekiti preserved in its original form and its original method. And then he started to give the example of who I'm assuming he's training with right now, or whose videos he's watching, because a lot of the references that he gave me were podcasts that he watched with Tuhon Tim Wade, and he gave me a lot of references of Tuhon Tim Wade. Now, I'm not here to diss Tuhon Tim Wade. I haven't ever met him. Of course, I know about him. I don't think necessarily this is anything to do with him. It's more about how somebody interpreted his material. Now, this student of mine said a lot of things, told me to do my research, and essentially he was telling me how my teacher actually meant the art to be. And he was talking about things that I have personally had conversations with my teacher Grand Tuhon about, but he told me that I still need to go and do my research. But it is a larger conversation about the way Pekiti is taught, the way FMA is taught, going now and going forward. The issue is that almost all FMA that we have right now is descended from a group of individuals. So my style, for example, Pekiti Tirsia Kali comes from Grand Tuhon, right? He is the source, and he's still very much alive. It's his family style that he has been teaching everyone. So everyone who does this art in some way, shape or the other traces their lineage back to GT, right? And he's still very much alive. And through his life, GT, just like any other martial artist, just like his grandfather would have, they evolve their practice with time, depending on the context, depending on where they are in life, depending on who they're facing, depending on what's happening around them. They evolve their practice, they evolve their art. But oftentimes you hear instructors claiming that no, this is not the art, this is the art. What I have is the art, what other people have is not the art. That's not correct, this is this, this is that. And they'll give you many different reasons for it, right? One of the reasons that I've heard a lot of is that, GT is older now, and that's why he doesn't teach some of the older material which involves a lot more explosive movement, because he's old and so he can't move that way. Now, for me, that's a little bit disrespectful. And even if he is old, let's say we follow that argument. As someone grows older, for a lifelong martial artist, you would assume that as their practice evolves, they would get a lot more efficient in the way they do things. And so it is possible for both things to be true. It is possible for GT to not want to move so explosively anymore, but it is also possible that he's found a more efficient way of moving. And so instead of just dismissing the newer stuff and being like, only the old stuff is good, only this is good, we need to be a little bit more open-minded, a little bit more open-hearted, and learn as much as we can, because every single thing has value. I think we as instructors do a big disservice to the community, to our students, when we place ourselves, our own ego, our own business in front of the art. Our job is primarily to spread the art and to give back to a community, to give back to a practice and an art that has given us so much. But when we start putting ourselves before that, when I need to convince you that I am the only one who has this set of information, and I'm the only one who does this specific method, and everybody else is either ignorant or wrong or has misunderstood what GT has said, then there's a problem over there. Because every single Tuhon, maybe, I don't know now, there are more Tuhons, I don't know if there are Tuhons who have not directly trained with GT, that's a different conversation. But from my knowledge, every Tuhon has directly trained with GT. Every single Tuhon that GT has trained has been trained and taught by GT differently. We've all been taught different things. There's a variety of reasons for that. But for any one person to say, I have the entire art, only GT can realistically say that. Everybody else, apart from Grand Tuhon, has sections of the art. Yes, there are certain Tuhons, Tuhon Philip, for example, Tuhon Kanish, for example, who have large sections of the art, but even they will not claim to have the entirety of the art, because the truth is that nobody does, because again GT has been evolving the art as time goes on. So what can we do about this? What can we as practitioners, we as students, we of lovers of this art do about this? Well, for me there are two things. The first is, if you have an instructor who claims that they are the only one who understands something in this way, the only one who have this, the only one of anything, then that's a little bit of a red flag, because the truth is that that's factually incorrect, especially in Pekiti. That's factually incorrect. It's impossible for that to happen for anyone outside of Grand Tuhon, right? So what you want to do in that case, because at the end of the day there are not so many instructors out there in the world, you have to train with who you have. If you have someone who claims to be the only person who has this or that or whatever it may be, then just have your bullshit meter and your bullshit filter on. Try and absorb as much as you can, but also do as much research as you can. Reach out to other Tuhons, reach out to other instructors, try and reach out to GT himself, talk to other people so you get a good, holistic, well-rounded approach and you get many perspectives on the same thing. Because again, I have seen with my own eyes, GT teach the same thing 10 different ways. And so why is this valid versus that not valid? Why is this instructor's way that GT has taught him this thing valid versus what GT has taught someone else invalid, when the source is the same? And this brings me to point number 2. This is actually the first conversation, the first proper conversation I ever had with Grand Tuhon. I remember it very clearly. It was on my first trip. It was the first day I had just landed in Bacolod. I was in a car. There was Tita Gigi, who is GT's wife, GT, me in the back seat, Jam Jam, GT's son, and Renee, the driver, in front. And GT was talking to me about the politics of Pekiti and all the things that different students have done and how other people are teaching and what they're teaching and what he feels about it. And I remember asking him, because I was very confused, I remember asking him, how do I know if something is authentic or if something is not authentic? Like, how can I tell the difference? How do other people tell the difference? And I will never forget this answer, because this is a story I have told repeatedly and something that I myself hold very dear and something I use consistently and constantly. And he told me that if someone is using the principles of Pekiti, it is Pekiti. And that's a really important point, because essentially, regardless of what system you may learn, whether it be Dos Metros, whether it be Tri-V, whether it be Picarim Trigo, whatever it is that you are doing, Pekiti is first and foremost a principle-based art. Form is dictated by function. Why I am doing something is going to dictate what I am doing. So whether you are doing 64 attacks or whether you are doing Pito 7 attacks, right? Whether it's Dos Metros or Tri-V, whether you're doing ABC Dario or 144 attacks, understanding why you're doing something is going to help you understand when to do it, what to do, and how to do it. And that's really, really important. Now the issue is that a lot of people aren't trained this way or don't train this way, so it can get confusing to go down this rabbit hole of what am I doing and why am I doing it? What is the principle behind break in, break out? Why am I doing it? What is the principle behind Sabayan? What is the principle behind just umbrellas, right? Because oftentimes also there are multiple principles behind each one of these drills. Behind Sabayan, there's so many. There's offense, counter offense, recounter offense, there's defying the snake, there's angles, there's footwork, the principles of so many different things. But a simple way is to just take one thing, one small thing. It could be just angle 1, angle 2, and start asking questions around angle 1, angle 2. Like for example, the way I teach it, I say 1 to 7, 11 to 5 should be angle 1, angle 2, right, on the clock. Ask why 1 to 7, why not 2 to 8, right? Why not 3 o'clock, why not horizontal, why diagonal? Why am I asking you to load on the shoulder? Ask these whys, not in a confrontational way that, oh my God, I'm trying to find out, I'm trying to find ways that you've done this wrong, but ask in a way that you can understand with an open mind and an open heart. Then you can start to slowly delve into the inner workings of Pekiti and you get a glimpse into the ways of problem solving that those who came before us used. This is one reason why I still consistently every year try and go back to train with Grand Tuhon, because I am looking for insights into how he problem solves. Because then when he's not around and I am faced with one of these questions of why, I have this insight into the way GT thinks, the way he problem solves, why he problem solves in this way, and then I can apply that and try and sort of reinvent for myself what it is that I am struggling with. And that's the last thing. What works for me is not going to work for you. And so for me to say that this is the only way is dishonest and also incorrect. I can show you a set of moves, but how exactly you are going to use those set of moves has to come from you through pressure testing, through sparring, through drilling, solo and with a partner. It's a long process. Just before this, I started shooting this video, I was having a conversation with one of our residential students, James, who's right over there, about the process of going from theory and solo and partner training to sparring, and how that's such a long and winding road, and it doesn't happen often in this very linear way. But you still need to go through that process, otherwise everything is just theoretical. There's no real practical aspect to it. So please, 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 please don't fall into camps that this is the only way, that's not the only way. Please do as much research as you can. Talk to people who are more senior than you. Talk to as many people as you can. Train as much as you can. Spar as much as you can. Research as much as you can. Approach this art with an open heart and an open mind, knowing that everything is possible in this art and everything is doable within the correct context. Don't let yourself be pigeonholed into just one thing, one camp, one way of doing things. Because in actuality, that is the true essence of Pekiti. I need to adapt to the current situation.